Ranking Member Portman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, with regard to the conversation, we've received information that prior to January 6th, Capitol police officers were not trained on how to respond to an infiltration of the Capitol building. Is that correct, Mr. Zund?
When you talk about infiltration, you talk about a large insurrection like we saw on the January 6th? No.
I see Senator Rosen. Would you like to go ahead? Because you're the first member on. Senator Rosen.
Are all Capitol police officers outfitted with riot gear?
No, they're not, sir.
They're not. And why are they not?
Okay, we'll have you talk to him about that later. Senator Warner has arrived via video.
We outfit a number of we have 7 CDU platoons that we can activate. 4 of those platoons, it's 40 people in a platoon, are activated to what we call the level 1, the full CDU gear and equipment. It requires extensive costs, extensive training to keep and maintain that level. For us, a number of our officers are posted in interior posts, screening posts, things like that, where that gear wouldn't do them any wouldn't provide them any support. So we have determined up till January 6th that number of CDU platoons had sufficed for all the demonstrations that we had been dealing with on Capitol grounds.
Mr. Sund, I would just say, obviously those officers who you say had interior posts needed it that day. So it's not accurate to say that they didn't need it. But I know that you activated 7 of these civil civil disturbance unit platoons, and then only 4 of them had riot gear. I don't know why you would have a civil disturbance unit platoon that didn't have riot gear, but you've just testified that that's true, that only 4 of them had it. Is that correct?
That is correct. And just one additional point, since I've been chief, I've actually pushed for every member in the department to have riot helmets. I had ordered those back in September. We had been looking at delays because of COVID from the manufacturer getting them delivered, and they actually just started being delivered January 4th and distributed to our officers just days before this, with limited numbers being given to the officers prior to this event.
Yeah, too late for many of those officers.
Yes, I think we certainly should.
Yeah, I think the bottom line here is that, unfortunately, our officers were not given the proper training with regard to infiltration of the building or the complex, with regard to dealing with civil disturbance, and they didn't have the equipment necessary to push back and, most importantly, to protect themselves. So my hope is that, again, one of the ways that this joint hearing and this committee report can be helpful is to bring the Capitol Police Department up to speed. And look, I appreciate the sacrifice and the bravery of that day, but I think we also owe it to those officers to provide them the training and the equipment they need to protect themselves and to protect the Capitol.
Chief Sund, if I have your testimony correct this morning,